Local Awakening, RocklandWorldRadio.com, and we have a very special guest today. His name is Max Igan, and he's coming from Byron Bay, Australia. Max, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing very well, John. Thanks for asking me on. Nice to talk to you.
Absolutely. Very nice to talk to you, Max, and in a lot of ways you have inspired this show to even be taking place right now. So thank you very much.
Well, that's really nice to hear. It's really nice to hear stories like that, actually. It makes it all worthwhile.
Awesome, brother. So would you tell us a little bit about, well, let me introduce Max a little bit better. He is a researcher, radio show host, and documentary filmmaker from Australia. And Max, could you tell us a little bit about how you got into that, what inspired you, what your message is right now to humanity, and why you're doing this?
Well, basically I'm doing it because it needs to be done. I started doing it because of my son more than anything, and I've always really been awake. I mean, my path has just always led me to this. I was questioning reality when I was 3 or 4 years old, so it was always a question for me. I was walking around when I was 4 thinking this is all messed up. The world is not supposed to be like this. And so I kind of went through school. I got kicked out of 4 schools because I was sort of a bit of a trouble student. You know, I used to question my teachers and argue with the teachers a lot. And so I left school very early, got a job as a musician, and kind of lived on the outside of society most of my life, which was really good and gave me the perspective that I've got now. And I've just continued along that path. I got to a certain age where, you know, I sort of got a bit old. I got to about, 45, and you're sort of sick of touring around in bands. And so I started devoting most of my time to research, and I started releasing a few slideshows on YouTube in 2008. And because of that, I got offered the job on the radio. It's actually quite interesting how I got the job, because I was hitting chat rooms and news websites, you know, like NBC News and Yahoo News boards and all this sort of stuff. And I'm attempting to wake the people up using the internet. I'm thinking, I've got this fabulous tool here. How do I get to the people? So I wasn't that sort of, internet savvy, just a bit of a surfer, like everybody else. I'm trying to find the way to actually get things to go viral. And I'm hitting chat rooms, and I'm getting in pages and pages of debates with people about 9/11 and all this sort of stuff. And then someone sent me a YouTube clip, and I realised that there was a whole truth movement happening on YouTube. I thought YouTube was a place where school kids uploaded their home videos, I'd never really checked it out. And I found there was this whole truth movement, and I looked at it and thought, shit, I can do this. I can create a slideshow. I can put some stuff up there. So I did it. And then I thought it's not enough. I need to be speaking to more people. What I need is to be doing something like a radio show. I need to be a radio host or something, so I can be reaching more people and giving this message to the world, and just making enough to get by. I don't need a lot, but I just need to be enough to get by, so I can devote my time to this, so I can wake the world up. And I was meditating, all this sort of stuff. I meditate a lot, and I had this huge download in 2008, which was really why I started making the films. It was an amazing experience that I've never experienced again in meditation or in anything. I've never had any experience like this before or since. And I just kind of got to understand the reality from that experience. And so when I'd get up in the morning and sit at the computer and hit the chat rooms and hit the YouTube clips and all this sort of stuff, I put myself in the energetic state where I was a radio host. I'd take my son to school, I'd come home, I'd sit at my desk, and I'd put myself in the energetic state where I was at work. This was my office, I was working, I'm reaching the world, they're listening to what I'm saying, and they're waking up. And that was actually happening to me energetically. And within 6 weeks of putting myself in that energetic state and sitting down in that state every day, I got offered a job as a radio host without even looking for one. And so it kind of just manifested because I put myself in the energetic state. So that's the true nature of prayer. I've said that in my film, The Awakening. The true nature of prayer is to change your energetic state and communicate with the field around you through your energy field. The field will mirror back to you what you mirror into the field. Now, they co-opted this and tried to sell it to the world as the law of attraction. So you focus on what you want, and you will manifest prosperity. So turn it back into self-service and money. of course, like they do with everything. But it isn't really a law of attraction. It's more a law of mirroring. If you focus on something with using the methodology outlined in the law of attraction, you'll find that you're creating with your mind, so you're creating duality. You may create prosperity for yourself in financial prosperity, but you'll find you'll probably create a lawsuit to go with it or something so that you lose all that money anyway. It never really works out. You're creating duality. So you create something positive, but you also create something negative. Whereas if you create with your heart through mirroring into the field and having it mirror back to you, it just all flows. Everything flows. And I'm absolutely living proof that it works. My whole life since that point has been one series of synchronistic events, and it always mirrors back to me what I've been putting into the field. Even now with this trip that I'm going on to Peru, and it's actually morphed into this huge trip. I'm going all sorts of places now. And this has all just been gifted to me. And I would suggest that's because this is what I do. I gift. I live in a gift culture, a gift mentality. I gift to everybody. I'm always giving stuff to people, and that's what I do. I just give. And so the field gives back to me. Things just work. They always work. But again, I don't expect it to give back to me. It just happens. As soon as you expect it, it stops happening. You know what I mean? Complete detachment from any outcome is the way you do it. You know, you just put yourself in the energetic state where you are in that reality and have all detachment for the outcome, and reality just works when you do this. So that's basically what I do, and that's what I'm trying to share with people. And this is how we can change the world, I believe. I mean, if everybody did this, if everybody lived in this mentality and lived in Lakesh and treated every person as themselves, reality would change in 3 seconds. It would change by default. We wouldn't have to do anything. No wars, no weapons, no guns, no bullets. None of that is needed. All we have to do is change our perspective of how reality works. And that's what I've been trying to share with people. Yeah,
I very much agree with you, Max, about your intentions being a language that you're speaking with reality, and that by changing your energetic state, that reality is mirroring back to you what is within you. And for me, following that way, it's also been a series of synchronistic events and miraculous things that now I find myself living on this 25 acres of land here with the most amazing, loving people that I've ever met in my entire life, and just like series of events after another. Not only also helping me to align myself more, by what comes in, is also very much a lesson to learn on how to continue and how to become more centered and more aligned with the universal way.
Yeah, absolutely. See, what you're looking for is yourself. That's what everybody's looking for, is themselves. And once they truly find themselves and truly have acceptance for themselves, then they can see that in other people. And they see other people exactly as valid as themselves. It's an amazing, enlightening, awakening experience. And that's really how we change the world. And everything about our society is designed to take that away from us, designed to lead us away from that understanding. Even with, spiritual teachings, a lot of it, it's, if I read this book, I'll be more spiritual, I'll be more centered, I'll be more whatever. These books may give you insights of how to operate, but ultimately it's in yourself. What you're looking for is your own heart space. What you're looking for is your own personal validity and your own perfection. So that's the thing. We don't perceive our own perfection. Everybody, they're given all these yardsticks by society to measure themselves up to. They've got to be this way or that way, or look like this, or act like that, or live in this sort of a place, or have this type of girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. It's just ridiculous. Wear these clothes. What they're missing is the perfection of themselves. They think they can gather all this stuff to them, which is going to make them complete and make them feel whole and make them feel like they're worthwhile. They're not realising that they already are. They're already completely, absolutely perfect. And we feel threatened by people who've got more external stuff than us, and we don't want anyone to have more than us. And if we've got more than everybody else, we don't want to hang around really with people who've got less than us, or unless we're sort of showing off. I mean, we've got this completely messed up mentality in our society when really we're all perfect. And the thing is, and I often say to people that you came here to experience you. No one else can be John Rucker better than you. No one else has that perspective of reality. And so why would you see anybody as a threat to you? Because no one can take that away from you. No one can interfere with that. You're you, and you're absolutely perfect at being you. No one else can do it better because that's who you are. You know what I mean? And of course, that's who you are. That's what you came here to experience. So why not experience that? And when you see that you are perfect because no one else can be you better than you, and that you contain this entire perspective of reality that no one else has, and you get to take that back to source and deliver that to the creation, that's an honor, and that's incredible. And that's how perfect you are, and everybody's like that. No one should be threatened by anybody because no one can be you better than you. So where's the problem? Where's the problem with anybody? Why would you invalidate anybody else once you've become aware of your own perfection? You can't help but see that in other people. You know what I'm saying? So we've got this whole convoluted view of reality. We need to come back to ourselves and find our own perfection. And in all the research that we're looking for, all the rabbit holes that we go down, all of the conspiracies, everything that we're looking for, and all the searching that we're doing, what we're looking for is ourselves. It lies within our own hearts. And once we find that and realize that once you found it, you don't just sort of withdraw into it. You apply it to the world around you. You view other people from this perspective, and reality changes. It's that simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so in finding yourself, I feel like that really comes in a lot of different levels. There's obviously, I think, the spiritual component of what you're talking about, and finding, your connection to everything and everyone, and to God and your creator, whatever you want to call it. Then there's also the physical aspect of, finding, again, a healthy body and a healthy mind, and, just learning to heal the wounds that you have, and also like the many solutions that we have to just all of these problems and how simple they are,
Yeah, well, you find the 7 pillars of wisdom. Delama DeVeris talked about this in the Golden Reed. The 7 pillars of wisdom, which is love, sustenance, rest, procreation, acceptance, contribution, and self-realization. If you find those things in your life, your life just works. You need love, of course. That's the first pillar of wisdom is love. But it isn't that you need someone to love. It isn't that you need a partner. You just need love. You need to know how to love, and you need to allow yourself to be loved. You need to love the world and understand what love is, And of course, you need sustenance. You have a healthy body. You put into your body what your body needs. If you put stuff into your body that it doesn't need, then you create imbalance. You create negative energies. You have to purge that someday. You have to get that out. It's not supposed to be there. If you were living in a natural environment, in a natural state, out in the country, just foraging, whatever, you would eat, sleep, and play. That's what your life would be. Eating, sleeping, playing, and procreation. That would be your life. So that's the first 2 pillars of wisdom is love and sustenance, and the third is rest. Of course, you need rest. You've got to rest in order to recuperate, to be able to do all the other stuff. The fourth pillar of wisdom is procreation. Procreation doesn't mean you have a child. It's creating yourself, creating more of yourself, creating more of your philosophy. Everything that you've told me about what you've done there, and you told me the other day, Max, we did all this because we were listening to your shows, and everything that you said, you've applied it to the world and you've created that. See, to me, that's procreation. I've procreated now. I've put that message into the world, and it has blossomed and it's flowered and it's grown. That's procreation. You write a book, you leave a song behind, you plant a garden, you give a philosophy to someone that helps them and changes their life. That's procreation. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I'm very, very satisfied in my procreation. And I have absolute acceptance of myself. When you accept yourself and see the perfection in yourself, and you have this acceptance for yourself, you can't help but see that in other people, which means you want to contribute to reality. You want to contribute to the world. You want to leave a legacy behind of good. You want the world to be improved by your presence in it. So you need to contribute. You just want to. You go through these pillars of wisdom, and once you begin to contribute to the world, because you're in complete acceptance of yourself and therefore acceptance of other people, and you're procreating your philosophies through the world, then you have self-realization. And once you've got that self-realization, you're there. It's the most wonderful gift you'll ever have. And you find how you can manifest with your heart. Those 7 pillars of wisdom: love, sustenance, rest, procreation, acceptance, contribution, and self-realization. Absolutely perfect. And that's what everybody's looking for. And that's the steps to get it.
Absolutely.
You know, we don't perceive what real love is. We think love means, oh, I've got the perfect partner. That's not what it's about. You know, it's knowing how to love. You never have the perfect partner if you're searching for the perfect partner. There is no such thing as a perfect partner. All there is a harmonising of frequencies. And if you don't love yourself and love the world and allow the world to love you back, you're never going to have a good relationship with anybody. So you know, you've got to know what love is and just have that as an energetic state and apply that to reality around you, and things will just work. So that's the first step, and one of the most difficult steps, because in these societies everyone's operating in a state of fear-based mind control and scarcity. So where does love fit into the equation? It's very, very difficult for people to even think about that. And they equate love with sex, and they equate needs with desires. So it's kind of all messed up, you know, and it's done by design.
Yes, this fear-based mind control. So basically the system is designed to control people by putting them in a state of fear, by basically telling them how to emotionally respond to the world around them. In this very confined and very constricted way, with media and television and indoctrination in the schools. So can you tell us a little bit about your take on that, about how this is done, how this, emotional and mental programming is done to the world?
Well, it's like you said, it's all done to elicit emotional responses. They want emotional responses to everything, because when you're in an emotional state, you're in a state of fear or anger, that's what they want. They love that energy. So, and they program you with, on the TV, they give you all of these yardsticks to measure yourselves up to, and they do it in subtext. It's not that they've got a show saying you have to be like this, but just the way they present people in television shows and in movies, they present a certain image of reality. And we tend to measure ourselves up to that image. And of course, we can never obtain it because it's a false reality. It's on television. Nothing's like what you see on television. I mean, television's completely fake. And back when I was a kid, people would say, you can't believe that. Don't believe what you see on television. And now it's kind of turned around and people don't believe it unless they see it on television. It's kind of really, really bizarre. So they've kind of programmed people to believe this thing, and it's telling them what they need to be in order to function in reality. And it offers them like three easy steps to get to this goal, and thereby you will be a fulfilled and complete person. Your life will be perfect. And the steps are never easy, and you get to this point and you're totally in debt from trying to get there, and you're never going to get to what they told you were going to get anyway. So you end up completely stressed out. You end up discarding yourself as much as society discards you. And you lose yourself, you miss yourself all along the way. You never actually look within yourself and see your own perfection because you're looking for it externally all the time. So we're programmed to do this, and we're always kept in a state of scarcity, so we're always on the treadmill. So we never really have time to look around. Just the fact that we have to pay to be alive, it's completely ridiculous, And they make it so it costs more and more and more to be to pay to be alive. So what they do is they make the prison state more and more visible, but at the same time they keep you running faster and faster and faster on the treadmill, so you never really see what's going on. And they want to elicit emotional responses in everything. Even in response to the New World Order and in response to what the government's doing, they want violent revolution. They want everyone to get out there in the street with guns and start shooting, and so they can just lock the place down. And they have no problem with that. They understand that language. And they got all the good weapons. They got everything ready there to do it. So that's the worst thing we can do. What we have to do is realise what's being done to us and realise who we are, and realise what our relationship with these people is, which is a trust agreement. I've said this on so many shows. Your whole relationship with government is fiduciary trust. These are just people. They're no different to anybody else. And we actually employ them to do exactly the opposite of what they're doing. And so, if anybody in your country is in a state of hardship, then the government's in breach of trust. So people have to look at it from that perspective. But again, you need a lot of people to do this. So how do you reach all the people? Well, you follow the 7 pillars of wisdom, you open up your heart, you lead by example, and you start respecting the people around you. That's what you do. I mean, there's no other way to do it. You have to have that respect. See, that's the thing, there is no way to attack the system. You have to change your perspective of reality. You have to change your heart space. You have to move out of the emotions, stop thinking with your emotional centers in your body, and start operating from your heart. And I've been trying to say this to people for 4 years now, and I'm living proof that it works. Every single thing in my life just manifests as I need it. I've just manifested a trip right around the world, completely for free. People are just paying me, or not even paying me, they're just buying me tickets, and I'm flying here, I'm flying there, and it started off, I was given a trip to Peru, and now I'm going from Peru to Costa Rica, across to Europe and to the UK. I go to Egypt. I might end up in the United States for a while even. So it's just bizarre, and it's all just happened. Once people hear that if you're there, well, I may as well fly you to here. And if you're there, well, we may as well bring you to here. And I'm just going, okay. And it's turned into this huge mega trip. I was going to be away for 2 months. Looks like or 2 weeks. Looks like I'm going to be away for 2 or 3 months now. And this is what happens when you start operating from your heart. It just works. Everything works, and reality just changes. So that's the key. And that is the most terrible thing for them. That is something they're trying to steer us away from. More than anything, they're really trying to keep us in this emotional center. And all the movies, everything's all designed to stimulate this emotion. Even the stress of scarcity is designed to stimulate this emotion. And this is what I mean by fear-based mind control, because there's fear dripping in the back of everybody's head all the time. It's always there. Fear of paying the bills, fear of the police coming and raiding us, fear of this and fear of that, fear of war, fear of terrorism, fear of fluoride, fear of everything. Whatever it is, there's all this stuff going on around you that no matter how much you try to be centered, if you're living within one of these Western civilizations or Western societies, there's just this drip going on in the back of your subconscious. It's always there. Fear-based mind control. And that's what it's all based on. And that's why they've tried to wipe out all the shamanistic cultures and tried to wipe out all the indigenous cultures around the planet as well. Keep these higher understandings of reality out of the picture and keep you in this state of fear-based mind control. The whole religious system, the monetary system, the social system, the political system, it's all based on fear-based mind control. So that's the thing, move out of those emotional centers, move back into your heart. When you start operating from intuition and from heart, your world changes. But in order to do that, to really get into your heart, you need to follow those 7 steps that I outlined for you previously. That's really the way there, because it comes through self-realisation. Everything about this society is designed to remove you from any self-realisation, keep you dependent upon things that are external to yourself, when really what you're looking for is yourself.
Yeah, and it's definitely quite a journey to get to yourself, and it's a beautiful, amazing journey. But I mean, human beings, we're so far removed from ourselves, we're so far removed from the truth that it really, once you wake up and you see it all, it's really quite a journey to find out how you've been so manipulated, how you've been so programmed, and the road back to that original self, that authentic self. Once again, that you came into this world not afraid, you came into this world, innocent and just probably amazed and astounded and excited about everything, and ready to respond out of that love that you had and mystery of it all and the wonder. But we just come so far,
Well, yeah, we have, and it is easy to get back there, but it can be a bit of a process, because you've got to change your perspective so much. You've got to shift your paradigm. Once it shifts, it just shifts. It's like the penny drops, and you go, oh wow,
right?
It's really that easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we think it can't be. I can't just change my energetic state. Oh, it's all very well for you to say that, but how do I do that? You just do it. You just do it. Let go of all the baggage, all your preconceived beliefs, all the stuff that you're carrying with you. Just put it all to one side and just open up your heart and look at things from a different perspective. It just happens one day. When I had that experience in 2008, when I was already reasonably connected and reasonably on my path, but when I had that download in 2008, I've just never looked back from there. And once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. It's honestly like taking the red pill. There's no way back into the matrix. I simply can't operate in that world. It's just bizarre. But the penny will drop for people, and it really is a simple step. There is no forms to fill out. There is no specific method you need to use or anything like that. There's no specific meditation or anything like that. It's just finding your heart, being aware of your intuition. You know, your intuition is incredibly important. It's always speaking to you, but we've just forgotten how to listen. We've very often forgotten how to listen. We've got all this eternal dialogue going on all the time, and we tend to concentrate on that rather than what's going on in our hearts. It's very difficult for me to explain. I have so many people write to me and say, how? And I've tried to say it on the radio show 300 different ways. And if they're not getting it, well, I don't know. It's difficult to explain because we don't really have the words in the English language to explain true spiritual understandings.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say is find yourself by finding your heart, and you'll find your heart if you can follow those 7 pillars of wisdom. And I've just got those out of a book recently that was sent to me, The Golden Reed by Delamere Verus, that I was looking for. Someone sent me the book. And I'm reading through this book and I'm going, wow, I said that, and I said that. It's almost like I wrote this book. It's really, really bizarre. And I've still only read half of it. I've purposely only read half of it because I want something to read on the plane. So I'm taking it with me to read on the plane on the way to Peru.
Wow, Max, there's so many different directions that we could bring this conversation right now. I mean, there's so many things that I want to say and ask to you. One thing is you just kind of hit on one point, which was that we don't have the language to describe a lot of these deep spiritual understandings that were described in cultures long before. Can you tell us a little bit about the manipulation of the language system and how that serves the control of humanity right now?
Well, language is basically, most people's understanding of reality is based on their understanding of language, because our whole education system is designed to shift us into our left brain. So we're always in dialogue. It's all about dialogue, because your left brain is that inside, that brain chatter going on in your brain all the time. And they give you television and all these things that flicker. The flicker rate on the television, the flicker rate on movies, all of these things. What this does is it shuts down your corpus callosum and it stops your left and right brain talking to one another. So that keeps you completely locked into your left brain. And through their manipulation of language, they've been able to manipulate people's understanding of reality, because we basically spell our reality. When we're doing things, we're talking in our minds. Subconsciously, we've got this subconscious dialogue going on all the time. And if your understanding of reality is based entirely upon your understanding of the language, and you have a language which purposely limits your understanding of reality, then how well are you going to understand reality? You look at the English language, and what we're speaking today as English is basically a result of what we'd probably call the Shakespearean Revolution, when the works of Shakespeare came out, and this served to create the English language in its current form. Now, I very much believe that the works of Shakespeare were not written by an unemployed playwright. They were written by the Bacon Society. They were written by a group of people with Francis Bacon at the head, and they were done in order to change the language to exactly what it is. I also believe that Francis Bacon was very likely responsible for writing the King James Version of the Bible. And so America today could almost be called the land of Francis Bacon, I believe. He's the true founder of America. So there was a huge manipulation of language that happened here. And when you look at the English language, people would say a spell is a series of words. I would say a word is a series of spells. Okay, so when you think about how words are structured, you think of the word individual. In, divide, you all. Okay? You live in, divide, you all. And you are a human being. You are a being that is the hue of man. So you're a being that is the colour of man. You're living in a divided society. Just by saying I'm an individual, I'm an individual human being, you've just confirmed that you're living in a divided society, and you're not actually man. You're something that's the colour of man. These are all subconscious programs that run. I often use the word dharma to explain it to people. Dharma gives you a huge understanding of reality. It opens up a huge perception of reality when you understand what dharma is. How dharma relates to your your path through life, your path through the cosmic machine. When you're following the 4 rules of Dharma, you are walking the perfect path so the universe around you can operate properly. It's like a big clock, you know, all these cogs, intermeshing cogs, and each person is a cog, and if they are functioning according to their Dharma, then the whole of reality will function smoothly. You know, it's a huge understanding. You know? You follow the 4 rules of Dharma, you do the right thing at the right time, in the right way, for the right reason, and all this sort of stuff. You could write a whole book on Dharma, explaining the concept of Dharma to a Westerner. But if you're speaking Hindi, you've just got to say Dharma, and they know exactly what you mean. It's a whole concept of reality that's there contained in that one word. We don't have words like that in our language.
No.
You know, we have a very particularly mechanical language. Like English, stop, start, words are unique to themselves. Each word is its own word, and each following word or preceding word is its own word. Whereas in Italian or French or many other languages, you'll find that it's almost, when you hear these people talk, it's almost like they're speaking one long word, because they're adjoining syllables, they join different words for different understandings of how that word's being used by what precedes it. You know what I'm saying? So you can express a different love for your brother, for your sister, for your mother, for your dog, for the sky, or whatever, by putting a different prefix on the word love. It conveys a whole different understanding of love. But because we don't have this way of communicating in English, we only really have that one understanding of love, and everyone says, well, what is love? We can't even figure out what it is, you know, because we don't have this understanding of it. Whereas in a lot of these other cultures, they have words which will explain love in its every possible nuance. You know what I'm saying? We don't have any of that in English. So it's a very, very mechanical language, and I think it's been constructed by design to be this way and to disconnect us from reality. And this is why they've gone out and they've superimposed it on all the other languages around the world. This is why English is one of the most widely spoken languages anywhere on the planet, you know, because they want everybody to speak English. And they've done it with regional dialects in other places as well. Like in Italy, there was like 30 different regional dialects, different words in different areas that meant different things. And when television was introduced into Italy, they started saying on television, well, okay, here is the word for this. Now, if you use another word for this, well, you're just not speaking Italian, are you? You know? And they trained everyone to use the one language. They homogenised it all into one language. And now all these little regional dialects and these nuances and these unique understandings of reality and unique understandings of the language that we use in all of these places are all lost. So it's being homogenised. And once they do that, then they superimpose English and a television mentality over all the people of society, turn them into all these superficial social climbers and people that believe they all need stuff and need all these trinkets, and you know they try to measure themselves up to all these yardsticks, and they just get them programmed like everybody else. And they're gradually doing this right around the planet, and it's very, very clever. But they're superimposing Western society and Western culture over the entire world, and they're superimposing English over all the other languages. And this is serving to, you know, dumb society down. It's all part of the transhumanist agenda. It's all part of robotising the human species. That's why we have a very robotic language. You know, so they're very clever, but long-term plan. But it seems to be working. They're doing quite well.
The transhumanist agenda, Max, one of the main themes of your newest documentary, Transformation, which I absolutely loved among the rest of your documentaries, the Awakening, the Calling, all great stuff. Max, do you want to tell us a little bit about the new one that you got out, Transformation?
Well, transformation, like you say, it's mainly about the transhumanist agenda. I think it's important that people know this is going on. I tried to sort of break it to everyone gently in the movie, but, you know, it's no easy way to say it, that actually, you know, you're being manipulated, the environment's been genetically altered. Excuse me, the human species has been genetically altered. So we are going through a shift in consciousness. I believe this happens like at least every 26,000 years, possibly even more. And there are certain forces at work here that are attempting to control that shift, that evolution. Because the human species is evolving. I think the human species does evolve all through history. If you look way back, you know, Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon to Homo sapien to Homo sapiens sapien. There's no transitional species between any of these. It's almost like consciousness spontaneously creates new species as it needs them. Consciousness goes where it will. There are certain forces that have maneuvered themselves to a position of control in this society that we're in now, and they wish to maintain that control. And any evolution that's going to happen, any new consciousness that's going to be created, they would like to be in control of that whole consciousness. See, I think that way back in around about 11,500 years ago, when we had the Great Flood, I think that we lost a lot of what we had. We lost a lot of our ancient knowledge, and a situation was created whereby psychopaths were able to rise to prominence within our society, because we do have a psychopathic system at the moment. We didn't have that back in the old days because the shamans used to weed the psychopaths out so that they would never get into positions of power. Psychopaths will always be very charismatic people. They will always be able to gather people around them to follow them, and they will always maneuver themselves into positions of power where they will manipulate those beneath them because they enjoy doing it. That's just what they do. And that's the sort of society that we have. So these sorts of the psychopathic children were always weeded out by a shaman. A good shaman can look at a young child and know whether that child is going to be a psychopath or a shaman. And they will ensure that these psychopathic personalities never obtain positions of power. So we lost a lot of our shaman in the flood. And in the cataclysm that happened 11,500 years ago, we lost a lot of our shaman. And so therefore, there were psychopaths who were able to maneuver themselves into positions of power. They created a hierarchical system. They created a system of subservience. They created kingship. All this sort of stuff comes from... I mean, it's kingship in itself is psychopathic thinking. It's pathological thinking. Right. Your divine right to rule. Well, who said? Who are you? What divine right? How come everybody doesn't have a divine right to rule themselves? Well, the thing is that they do. But, you know, these psychopathic entities, this is what they've done. This is the society they've created. And I believe it all came from the cataclysm, came from the flood, and it all goes towards this transhumanist agenda. And when you look at what's going on in the world and you take every single part of it individually, none of it really makes sense. You know, the GM food doesn't really make sense. The Fukushima doesn't really make sense. None of these things make sense on their own. But when you, even chemtrails doesn't make sense. But when you realise that there's no particulates in the chemtrails, and you look at the transhumanist agenda, and you look at genetic modification, you see how it all ties together when you look at it from a transhumanist perspective. The satellite grid, the GM food, Fukushima, chemtrails, the whole lot fits if this transhumanist agenda is a reality. And then you look at films like Transcendent Man by Ray Kurzweil, and they tell you straight out in that film, yes, this is what we're doing. We wish to infuse nanobots with everything. Plants, rocks, trees, animals, everything will become intelligent. And then we're going to send nanoparticulates infused with artificial intelligence out into the universe to harness whatever it finds, to improve our intelligence. This is basically the creation of the Borg. And, yeah, well... they've removed us from the singularity that we belong to, the connection that we have, by shutting down our pineal gland, and now they're essentially offering us a digital clunky version of what we can already do. And that's what's going on, and it's right there in front of everybody's faces. But it's a very, very hard nut to crack with everybody because they just don't want to believe it. And they think, why would the elite be doing this to themselves? Well, it's easy. They want it. They want transhumanism. They will be able to control the whole thing. They'll make sure they've got more than us. And that's just the sort of people they are. And then they can live out all of their fantasies and do all of the things that they want to do for as long as they can. And they can control all of human consciousness. And that's what's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people, you know, they have become aware of, you know, the pineal gland and the power that is contained within this shut down center of our brain, which has been shut down, you know, largely because of fluoride being introduced to our water. And, you know, Santos Bonacci is somebody that you've had on your show several times. I really like Santos, and I really like the information that he offers us about, you know, the history of our planet, the history of religion, and, you know, the shutting down of our pineal gland, and the physiology of the human being, and really unlocking the potential and showing us really what we can be and what we were meant to be. Since learning about this stuff, I've come across a really amazing and powerful tool for cleaning the pineal gland and opening it. And I think this is, you know, one of the major conspiracies to cover up this information of distilled water. And I'm not sure, Max, if you've ever heard of Andrew Norton Weber, who has a lot of research on distilled water as well as urine therapy. Distilled water being the only kind of water that nature produces. I know that Andrew has spoken with Santos recently, and Santos has been continuing to bring up Andrew and the research of distilled water on his shows. And it's really amazing how this works, you know. And if you go on Google, you know, it's going to tell you like, oh, distilled water will kill you, it'll strip minerals from your body, and there's really you know, it's really not true, and it's really basic science to understand why that isn't true. And Max, you know, I almost want to ask you a favor. I had Andrew Norton Weber. He's the one who's given this information about distilled water around the country and on the internet. And he actually stayed at our house the other day. It was quite a blessing to have him with this incredible amount of knowledge he has about, you know, cleansing the human body and the pineal gland and the amazing things that come along with that when that happens. The amazing health benefits and basically the ability to cure almost any disease. So the favor I want to ask you, Max, is that I think this is really important information to get out to the world. This, you know, really basic way of really purifying yourself, the distilled water and the urine therapy. So if you haven't checked out Andrew Norton Weber, I really ask you to check him out and, you know, to try to get that information out there as well. I've been trying to tell everybody that I can about this, and you know, Andrew also kind of mentioned that, you know, there's a lot of false prophets in this truth movement. You know, there's a lot of people who are gatekeepers, you know, who take you to the truth to a certain point, but that's it. They're at the gate and not, you know, giving you more information on the real solutions to the problems that we have. And so, you know, I know you're having this opportunity to go meet with some other people like Ben Stewart and David Icke, and I think that this is a really amazing opportunity to get the distilled water information out to the rest of the world by getting other people of your stature who have such a following to really do the research on the distilled water yourselves, and if feeling that that's a valuable tool, or at least to address that to more people, because I think if people start using this knowledge of the correct amount of volume of this water, that the energy on this planet is just going to skyrocket, and, you know, we'll have a 100th monkey effect of people opening their pineal gland before we know it. So that's the favor I have to ask you, Max. What do you think?
No worries. I'll look into his work. I actually have a water machine here that produces water from the air, and it's virtually distilled water. I've been drinking that for a couple of years now. That was actually a gift from a listener. They said, oh, we've got to keep you healthy, Max, and they gave me this water machine. And so, yeah, I'll definitely look into it. I mean, I've been drinking it for a while, and I definitely don't have any problem with my health from drinking distilled water. So, yeah, I'll definitely look into his work for you, John.
All right, so I'll give Andrew a quick plug. His website is www.aquariusthewaterbearer.com. And it compiles all of the research that Andrew has found on distilled liquids and urine therapy being a cure-all for anything you can imagine. So I'm recommending that to my listeners and to go check that out. Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me kind of ramble on about that one, Max. Appreciate that.
My pleasure.
So, you know, I think that that can be used as a tool to really, you know, kind of point out the true truthers, you know, and to get them to take a stance on some of the most important health knowledge that we have. And if they just choose to ignore it, like Andrew has been seeing a lot, you know, he brings it up to certain people that just don't write him back, whereas like Santos Bonacci wrote Andrew right away and has been, you know, talking about it on his show very often. from since then?
Well, I'll see what I can do about that. I'm going away next Monday. I don't know when I'm going to be actually doing another show. So, but when I do, I mean, I'll try to get one done when I get to maybe. I've got to go to Costa Rica after Peru, and then I'm going over to Europe and I think the UK. So I probably won't even get a show done till I get to the UK, which would be early September. So I'll see what I can do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be busy when I'm there. There's a chance I might even be in the United States in early October. So I'm probably on the West Coast, LA or something like that. But you never know. I might end up being able to catch up with a few people in the States as well. That would be good.
Yeah, well, if you're in the West Coast, you're on the other side from where we are. But if you happen to get into New York in the belly of the beast, feel free to stay on our lovely acreage here. We would just be so blessed to have you, and you definitely would have a nice home to stay in here.
Yeah, well, I'll see what I can do. I mean, I haven't made any plans yet. I mean, I didn't make any plans for the trip to begin with. That's probably why it's happening. I mean, if I made plans in my life, I probably wouldn't be going because I'd have plans, you know. But this is just all unfolded, and like I said, from a trip to Peru, now it's ended up going out through Western Europe and the UK and the United States and Egypt, and it's just remarkable, absolutely remarkable. I'm very much looking forward to it, leaving 5 days.
That's amazing, Max. I'm really hoping that you go out there and you have just an amazing trip, and I know that all the knowledge that you gain, you use it to share with the rest of the world. So
well, I've been meeting with a lot of people along the way. Apparently there's a group of people in Portugal who've got almost an Anastasia type society, and I'd like to go and meet them and interview them. I want to document the whole trip, maybe make a documentary about the trip. I'd like to attempt to even get to Gaza on the way somewhere. There's a lot I'd like to do, and the interesting part about it is that I'm going to Peru and I'm going into the jungle for 9 days on a complete cleanse and raw food diet, and we'll be doing a lot of ceremony while I'm there as well. So it'll be a huge shift in consciousness to start the trip, and then I'm heading out basically around the world from there, and flying around the world on love. It's amazing that it's all just been gifted. And it's just, yeah, I'm just sort of going like a leaf on the stream, really, just bouncing away to wherever I end up. So I could end up anywhere. I mean, God knows how long I'll be away once I get out there. But I will try to get some shows done while I'm out there, keep everything going and keep everybody informed on what's happening.
Wow, brother. I'm really excited for you. I'm excited for all of us. This is a great time to be alive, in my opinion.
Oh, it is. It is. It's a huge opportunity, and it shows what's happening here as well. I mean, this is almost like instantaneous manifestation. So be careful what you think about, because
yeah.
There's people just manifesting stuff, and this is just completely manifested. And the way it all happened, I mean, the way the trip to Peru happened, because I'd said to people, I've been offered ceremony around here, and I've said, no, I'm not comfortable with it. Not comfortable with the people. I won't. If I'm ever going to do ayahuasca, I'll wait until I can go to Peru and do it with a shaman. And even though I've been called, it's been calling me for about a year that I need to go and do ceremony. She's been calling me, and I've always knocked it back and said, no, I'll only do it if I can go to Peru and do it with a shaman. So of course I got the offer, bang, straight over Skype. Hi Max, happen to have a spare ticket to Peru to go to a 9-day ayahuasca retreat with a shaman. Would you like the ticket? I'm like, what are the chances? How do you have a spare ticket to Peru? It's not like I picked up an extra head of lettuce while I was at the supermarket. I got a spare one. Do you want it? This is a ticket to Peru. So, yeah, what can I say? So I feel like she's just said, okay, you've been stubborn, are you? You only do it if you can do it in Peru with a shaman. Well, here's Peru, here's a shaman, here's 9-day raw food therapy and the whole lot. So go and clean yourself out. We've got work to do.
Yeah, the signs don't get more obvious than that, Max. I actually did a shamanic journey once. This was not ayahuasca. It was a mushroom journey, and I describe the difference between like doing a shamanic journey and just taking these substances on your own for having a wild experience. As I could say, you take something like that, it's the difference between tripping out or tripping in, you know. And when you're with a shaman, you know, you're really going inward and doing this inner work and having some clear intentions of what you're doing. And it's really a totally different experience than just taking a substance, you know, and finding...
Absolutely, and I'm not a substance abuser at all. I'm not into taking psychedelic drugs or anything like that. So it's definitely not a drug thing for me at all. And my experience with the whole DMT, all the research I've done shows me that DMT is basically an interface that reality uses to communicate with itself. The difference, though, between DMT and something like ayahuasca is that with DMT, it's like opening the doorway into another world. And you don't know how to decode the information. It's just an onslaught. It's like being shot out of a cannon, and you're just there, and you don't know what's going on. But with ayahuasca, you've got a guide that takes you through that reality, and so it will be very, very interesting.
What better place to do it than Peru in the jungle with a shaman? That sounds incredible.
So that's the way the trip's starting. Then it's from there to Costa Rica, and then over to Portugal, and then off to the 6-day hemp expo in Slovenia with Rick Simpson.
Rick Simpson, yeah, I like the interviews that I've seen you do with him, which seems like a really amazing guy with what he's doing.
Well, yeah, there's the World Hemp Expo is in Slovenia, and that's all the uses of hemp, all as a building material, as a medicine, as clothing, as paper, as everything. So. That's going to be something that I'm very much looking forward to. Also in Costa Rica, I believe that they're introducing permaculture in Costa Rica. They're trying to introduce like a permaculture society. I think they're looking at that in a lot of Central America. So I'll be interested to see what's going on with that when I get there. And of course, this Anastasia type society that's happening in Portugal, that'll be very interesting to see. And there's a lot of people I want to catch up with while I'm away as well. We are looking at trying to create some sort of an alternate media setup when I get back, a collaboration between myself and a few other people. So I'm trying to set that up while I'm away as well. So I really think this trip will unite a lot of people. I think I'm going to reach a lot of people on this trip. A message I got from someone the other day was that all doors are open on this trip. So who knows who we can reach. And it's time to take the message to the next level. Who knows, I might end up just have to be on camera soon, I guess. I'm trying to avoid that. I love my anonymity, and I like the fact that nobody knows what I look like. I like the fact that it's not about me, it's about the message. But I guess it's kind of a game I'm playing too, you know, see how long I can maintain my anonymity.
Yeah.
But, it'll be hard when I'm out and about. I'm sure people will probably video things and there'll be something end up on YouTube, and yeah, it's just the way it goes. But it was fun while it lasted anyway. So, but I'm going to make a documentary out of all this. I might end up even being in that, and it should be very interesting. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Yeah, but I think big things are going to come from it as well. I think the people that I'm going to be able to connect, because I know a lot of people that don't know each other, and I know all of them, and I can kind of link them all up together. And maybe we can create some sort of a united front, united global movement. So that's part of the plan as well.
Oh, right on, brother. Absolutely. Well, Max, we're coming to the end of our show here as far as time goes. So, you know, I just really want to thank you very much for spending your time with us here today.
My pleasure, John. Absolutely.
Really
nice
appreciate
to talk
it.
to you.
You know, Max, it was 4 years ago about that I kind of just woke up and started to realize a lot of the problems that I was seeing around me, and you know, just what a horrible state humanity was in. And it was a very difficult place for me to be in, to not really know what to do with that information, to be trying to wake up other people around me, and really just, you know, getting, you know, the defense, the wall just going up, and people just really judging me for trying to get that information out there. And you know, coming across you and the radio shows that you did, they just really helped me. And I just want to say again, you know, that in a lot of ways I probably wouldn't be where I am today, having, you know, just gotten a wealth of knowledge about farming and community building and reality itself. You know, I'm in a better place than I've ever been in my life, and I just want to show a ton of gratitude to you for that, my brother.
Well, thank you, John, but it's no gratitude necessary. You've done it yourself. that's the thing, you know. I didn't do anything. All I did was suggest that you look through the door, you walk through. So congratulations to you, and good luck to you, brother, and respect for you and honour to you for what you've done.
Thanks so much, Max. You're a beautiful man, and I love you very much. And I would love to catch up with you again sometime. And and I also just really wish you all the blessings in the world on your amazing trip that's coming up. We're all excited for you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I'll definitely catch up again for sure.
All right, in Lakesh.
In Lakesh, brother.
Bless, Max. Please. Pretty cool.
Yeah, man. That was cool, man.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Wow, that really was cool.